Hey guys, let's go ahead and welcome you guys back. We're looking at 5.8 curve fitting with quadratic models. Here is some vocabulary you want to pay attention to facilitate your learning. Quadratic regression is one in particular that I encourage you guys to look up. The definition and an example. Alright, we'll be looking at two practice problems. Here it says determine whether the data set could represent a quadratic function. The first thing you want to check for is that the x values are evenly spaced. Okay? Evenly spaced. Okay. Different subtle ways to do it, but the most obvious is how do you go from here to here? That would be an increase of 4. From here to here, increase of 4. Alright? So as the spacing between them is 4, so check. Okay, that means we can continue. Now notice that it says could. That doesn't mean it's guaranteed that this data set come from a quadratic function, but it's looking pretty good if you run this test. Now to continue, here we're going to look for something very similar for the y values. Okay, here we're going to be looking at the difference. So let's go ahead and do that. Now if I go from 5 to 11, that means there was an increase of 6. From 11 to 14, an increase of 3. 14 to 14, an increase of 0. And 14 to 11 is negative 3. Alright. Now here, this second look, alright, is going to be from 6 to 3. Okay, requires me to go down 3, right? From 3 to 0 also requires me to go down 3. And from 0 to negative 3 requires me to go down 3. Now, special focus is on this second observation. Notice how it became constant. Okay, this here is a big indication that it very likely is data that comes from a quadratic function. So let's go ahead and make a note of that. Okay, we can call this the second difference. Difference is constant. Okay. So notice that it's the second one and this here, right, is constant. And that's a check. So that right there would tell us that yes, indeed. Okay. It is absolutely available to be considered under a quadratic function. The explanation is this work here. Alright, so in hindsight, this first one is just a requisite of what your observations. The second one is the determinant. So if it went from negative 3, and negative 4 or something like that, then no, you would declare it a no. Alright, let's move on to this next one. Now write a quadratic function that fits the points. So here are, right, 3 points, 6 coordinates, 3x, right, x, and y, y, y. So for this one, we're going to go ahead and take advantage of our tool, right, our calculator. And let's go ahead and, I think we've done something like this in the past. If not, okay, go ahead and follow along. Now, many of you guys don't have these TI Inspires at home, so just take good notes on the buttons, okay, that I'm accessing, so that way you guys can reproduce it in class. If you do have trouble with this, feel free to ask questions tomorrow. Alright, now notice once again what I did here is I hit the on button and I went ahead and hit list and spreadsheets, this icon here. Alright, let me go back to the original one. Alright. Now sometimes when you have two tabs like this, there might be a mix-up in which data you're accessing, so I'm actually going to just start a brand new document here. Alright. With that said, I'm going to come back here to this one. Alright. List and spreadsheet. I'm going to come here. I'm going to give it title. These are going to be my x's. I'll tab over, and these are going to be my y coordinates. Alright. Next, I'm going to list them. I'm going to list the x's 0, 2, and 3. Alright. 0, 2, and 3. I'll come over to my y's, and I have 6, 4, 6. 6, 4, 6. Okay, so now that I've got that, I'm going to go back to the home screen, and I'm going to come to this next icon, which is data and statistics. Okay, I'll hit that one. Now here, pay attention, what I'm going to do, okay, these are just kind of free floating points. I want to go ahead and identify this axis as my x-axis, so I'll simply hit tab, and okay, it'll line up my x values along the x-axis. I'm going to hit tab again. Alright, and now I'm on this axis, and I'm going to call it my y-axis. And as you can see, the coordinates, well, really the points have adjusted accordingly. Once you do that, you're going to go ahead and go to menu. You're going to hit 4 for analyze, 6 for regression. Whoops. Let me try that again. 4 and 6. Okay, now there's different types of regressions that you can compute. In our case, we're very concerned with it being quadratic. So let's go ahead and hit show quadratic. Alright, and if you ever have this case, what you want to do is you want to click on the equation. If you can't see it because it's not completely viewable, drag it, and there it is. So let me go ahead and borrow this guy. So as I can see, it's 1x squared. Whoops. Okay, so now let me go back here to my notebook. Where is it? Here we are. And write a quadratic function. So let's see here. The calculator was showing us that we had 1x squared minus 3x plus 6. Alright, my calculator kind of timed out there, but you can pause the video and go back though. It was indeed that. Now since they do want a function, we'll call it f of x. And that pretty much wraps it up. Guys, we'll be looking at this tomorrow, plus we'll see if we can reintroduce some of yesterday's material. Okay, solving quadratic inequalities. Thanks for your time. I'll see you tomorrow.